Again on. And today we go continue to debunk the satellite theory that they give to the masses. We go break it down and show you that they lie. Now we go look at the GPS so-called. They tell you that it basically connects to satellites spinning around the ball earth going over 1700 miles per hour. And yes, it gives you a signal for your so-called GPS. We go get into that and break it down because it is a lie. Let's get in it.
Tens of millions of us are traveling home today. No map.
And if you notice this set right here, a lot of people, they see this logo down here and they think it's mine. This is the Sunray from your CBS. You understand? When they don't give you the one eye, they give you the Sunray. The same fucking idol worship, as you could see, the one eye right there with the Sunray. That's what they give you all day of the week on the CBS Devil Network.
Our GPS knows the way, I hope. We rely on it so much, we hardly ever question just what's behind it all. But our
See this so-called GPS right here? He said we never wonder what's behind it. But the people just dumb. They tell you it's satellites spinning around the earth, give you this signal. And I'm going to break it down and show you that they lied.
Pogue did.
Head southeast on West 57th Street toward 10th Avenue.
GPS, man. Your car, your phone, even your watch. Those exact...
Okay, pay attention, people. Now, the car. What you got to understand, the GPS in the car don't connect it to nothing. You got to understand that, people. It's just a program, a software they got in there with the whole map of America. You understand? And it know exactly where you're at on that map. You understand? It's just a software, people. It's connected to no satellite. It's something that already made program. You're not getting it, people. Just like a damn compass. It got a system set up in it. And of course, it know exactly where you're at on that system. You understand? It's a map of America. And if you take that so-called GPS out of America, why the fuck it don't pick up on no satellite no more? You need to wake your ass up. And most of those GPS in the car, you can't switch to another state without switching the disk. You better wake your ass up. They can't fool everybody.
Where you are on the planet by listening to satellites 12,000...
You see, no matter where you're at on the so-called planet, yes, you still get GPS. That's bullshit, people. 100% in. And if that GPS don't program for that country, of course, it will never work. You better wake your ass up.
miles over your head. GPS is always on. You don't have to pay anything for it. You don't need to know.
It's always on. You never pay nothing for it. And you're dumb if you believe it. What I tell you, people, it's just a software programming they call fucking GPS. It's not real. It's not a real signal coming from the satellite. You understand me?
Anything about how it works. But don't you kind of wonder?
We're very proud of it. We enjoy.
There you go, people. This is what they tell you got GPS signal from. Now, if they send this shit up in the sky, all the way up till it get to space, with these wings on it, with solar panel, people just dumb. You never get it, people. This can circle the earth right around the clock and send you damn signal, and it never need fucking charging. What it used to send the signal to you. How can you make something that floating in the air all the way in space, and then it gonna send some type of signal to the earth? You believe it, people? It's time for you to wake up. This is the dumb shit from the dumb folks trying to fool you. See those badges on them? All fucking government workers.
Providing that utility to the planet on behalf of the United States Air Force.
You hear that? The Air Force, the United States Air Force give you the GPS for free. You're dumb. Every one of those fucking shit they give you is fake. You understand? Just like they tell you that the memory foam was created by NASA. Yes, they used to use it to fly in space. You're dumb as a box of rocks. It's fake shit.
For free.
For
That's
free.
true. That's right. The Air Force runs the American GPS
There
system.
you go, people. This is what bring you GPS from space. You believe it? What they got in this box right here that have the GPS capability to beam down to Earth is dumb shit, people. And I told you, if you're in one fucking country with a GPS system and remove it, bring it to another country, that motherfucker will never work in that country.
Overseeing it all is Brigadier General Deanna Burt, the
Just a
Director of
program.
Operations.
All brigadier and all of these fakers that they bring you with the eagle on the shirt and all those satanic
Air
badge.
Force Space Command. A lot of people
Space
think,
Command.
oh, it's that navigation thing on my phone. Is that about it?
Oh, yes, sir.
Don't worry about the one on your phone, people. It's totally different from the GPS in your car. If you notice, the one in the car is not really accurate. And you can't just go out of town and use it. You understand? You only can stay on the main roads in the main area if you go out of fucking state with that navigation. You understand me, people? It's just a program they put in it, and you got to use a fucking disc, something like a CD. You better wake your ass up. Even if you don't see it, that's what it uses. It's just a program.
So think about your ATMs at the gas pump, the New York Stock Exchange, the internet, your power grid.
Wait, are you telling me that the
You
internet?
got people, they're telling you all of that shit coming from space. And I already told you they lie. Watch this one face, people. Can't hold back the laugh. It's fake
About it?
shit.
Oh, yes, sir.
Can't hold
So
back.
think about your ATMs at the gas pump, the New York Stock Exchange, the internet, your power grid.
Wait, are you telling me that the internet and the electrical grid need GPS?
They
You
need
hear
a time.
that, people? I told you it's full of shit, people. They're faking the masses. This right here is a government puppet tricking the masses. You understand? All of this shit that you're talking about need GPS from a satellite. Wow, this is bullshit, people. Dumb down shit
Standard
for
to
the
link it up
masses.
around the world.
There you go, people. Why they have to show you a CGI on this ball earth shit right here? Why they have to show you when it come to satellite? Why they show you computer graphics? You're not getting it because it is fake. It
We
don't
have a
exist. It don't exist. people.
Constellation of 31 GPS satellites, each beaming a one-way radio signal towards Earth.
Those
You hear that, people? It beaming a one-way signal, radio signal towards Earth. And I told you what the radio signal travel on. It's just common sense, people. It travel on oxygen, the air around you. They tell you in space got no oxygen. How the fuck it gonna beam down something? What it gonna beam on? What it gonna travel on, people? We go get to that in a minute and show you. The oxygen is what use the radioactive frequency. You understand? That's what it travel on to bring you any kind of signal. This right here is a PSYOP. 100% fake shit they give you, a computer graphics satellite.
signals are being
And the Earth
broadcast
is also
continuously.
fake.
And when you are in view of that satellite, your receiver will pick the
There you
four
go,
best.
people, and don't worry about it. It's not the same GPS in a watch. You're not getting it, people. All of these right here connect to the internet. The GPS don't. That's what you need to know, people. Why you're driving a car with no internet at all, but it got a GPS system in it. You need to wake your ass up, people. That's a dumb shit for the people.
Satellites in view. So you want one directly overhead and three on the horizon. That gives
Yes,
you the
it's
best
bullshit.
position.
Yeah, you have one directly up ahead and three around the horizon. What horizon they're talking about? It's nothing but fake shit.
Those critical satellites don't fly themselves. What's the full name of this room?
This is the GPS
Yes.
Master Control Station.
Wow, and of course, people, they don't fly themselves. They have remote control on Earth, remoting them. Watch this right here.
It seems to be a very secure room as well.
Very much so. Just getting in this building is difficult.
Active now, 58 out of Ascension.
At Schriever Air Force Base in Colorado Springs,
Here we go
a
in
team of
Colorado, another PSYOP town.
young technicians works in this room 24 hours a day, watching over the satellites.
You see?
The commands they send can adjust the satellites.
And of course, people, they can watch over the satellite on computer screen. They can see it. What recording that satellite, make them can watch it. You're not getting it, people. It's bullshit for the masses.
Positions or check their health.
You got a good
And
step
check
9
their
for
health.
58.
Is
They
there ever
can check their health right here from Earth, people. You see all these so-called technology that they're lying to the massive about? It's not real, people. Unbelievable technology right here that they can watch something out of space. It's fake shit. 100% in.
trouble?
I was on duty as a crew commander a couple of years ago when we had a satellite.
Yes, and of course you have to dress up in a fatigue suit right here, American Air Force. Yes, just to watch the satellites. It's bullshit. Wake your
It
ass
turned
up.
out that the satellite's antenna was just heartbroken.
Captain Josh Harnish is the operations flight commander.
Do you have a spare?
So we actually have about 4 on-orbit spares because you can't just send.
Do you have a spare?
So we
Yes,
actually
antenna break off, and of course you got some spare antennas. Listen to what he say.
have about 4 on-orbit spares because
Yes.
you can't just send a fix-it man up to space, right?
And how old is the oldest one still up there?
The oldest
There
one
you
that
go,
is
people, look at it. All solar panel they can show the masses. You believe it, people? Because they're telling you the only way you can generate power is from the sun. So they always have to show you a solar panel fakery. And that's how the people buy it as real. You understand? If they never use the solar panel fakery, people wouldn't believe it. But they believe the solar panel because they're
active
dumb.
to you as a user is about 26 years old.
That's, I dare say, older than some of the people controlling it.
Absolutely. So the
Yes, they
operators, they're
control
generally
it. Just
fresh out of high
laugh.
school.
It's a
That's
laughable
safe for
thing.
some-
You see? They're playing with the dumb people. They never get it. It's not real. And all they're showing you on the computer screen is what? a so-called ball earth,
It's
people.
important.
Wow.
The GPSs.
So they go through a very rigorous training program, and then anytime we talk to the satellites, two
Yes,
people
they're
have to actually
talking to the satellite and watch his hand, people, holding the devil horns on both hands.
look and approve what's going to that satellite.
So one person couldn't go rogue.
That's correct. There is no self-destruct command. Let's just put that to rest.
Wow, nothing but
Well,
bullshit. They're
it's nice to
laughing
know
at the
that such an
people.
incredibly
Now watch this right here. The pyramid sitting right there for a reason, people. Just wake your ass up. It's nothing but
system
bullcrap.
is in good hands and absolutely, positively safe. Right? Is there any way an enemy of our country could take out the whole system?
Oh, absolutely. And they wouldn't necessarily have to attack the satellites. It's much
Pay
easier to
attention.
attack the signals.
Dana Goward is the
Yes,
president.
they're gonna block the signal for satellite. It's bullshit, people. It's time for you to wake up. They lied to you about the so-called GPS system. You understand? It's just a software. That's how it is. If you buy one of those GPS from one of those places and hook it up in your car, do it ever connect to the internet? The answer is no, people. You have no internet there. How the fuck you, what you gonna just pick up the signal from the satellite? It's a hoax, people. Big old bam.
The fifth generation of wireless technology has made it to cities in the United States. Across
See what I'm talking about? Fifth generation of wireless technology. And if you notice Verizon right there, which is the fastest so-called internet and data. But pay attention to this right here, people. Let me show you where they get our signal, because people don't pay attention, okay? Pay attention
the
right
country,
here.
T-Mobile, Sprint, and others are laying the foundation for a faster, better internet. But in the race to develop 5G, U.S. firms are already at a disadvantage. They have limited access to some of the radio frequencies that enable 5G. And
You hear
operate
that? They don't really have the capability for the 5G. The Americans, you understand? It's in a lot of countries, but it's not in America yet. So if they're charging you $10 extra on your mobile phone for 5G because you see it said 5G, you've been robbed. Because the 5G is not in America. They're faking the masses. 100%. They need way more cell towers.
is worried that there's not enough space to meet anticipated demand. In Chicago, Verizon download speeds reached a maximum above 1 gigabyte per second. While maximums are interesting, median speeds say more about coverage. Look in South Korea, and you'll see higher median speeds. That means their networks may be faster in more scenarios. To understand why the U.S. has a disadvantage, you've got to
See
understand
what they show you right there, people? A cell tower.
how wireless technology like 5G works. Most wireless systems rely on radio waves that can carry signals back and forth.
It's all of them, people. Every fucking signal carried by the same radio that you have from back in the days, people. It's the same signal. You ever wonder how the radio get to play? You ever wonder that? That's what you need to start thinking about from back in the days. It's the same radioactive frequency they used to carry signal. Just like you get your radio back in the days with just a pole on it. You understand me, people? Wake your ass up. They have no other way to carry fucking signal but this right here. Radioactive frequency.
between your device and a service
There you
provider.
go.
To run these systems, firms like Sprint or Vodafone have to buy space in the radio frequency spectrum.
So why would you need a fucking satellite to spin around the earth to give you a signal? It's fake shit, people. That's how you know. Every fucking thing is right here on earth. Nothing is in space. You understand? Every connection have to connect by wires, and then you get the signal. You understand? There's no wires in
The
space.
side
Come
of the
on.
spectrum chart represents low frequencies. Radio waves in this portion of
There you
spectrum
go,
are
people.
long and can
Why you
travel
think the radio wave get to do this right here? You think it can move by its own? You better wake up, people. It's just oxygen. Just like when you see smoke. The reason why you can see the smoke floating, because it's floating on oxygen. You understand? It rises in the air just like the oxygen do. That's what it is, people. You can never have no type of signal without oxygen.
farther
There
distances.
you go.
Think of it like playing heavy bass in a building. The low frequencies can be heard from a distance, even if they travel through solid objects like walls. Frequencies toward the middle left of this chart are in the midband. These frequencies, between 1 and 6 gigahertz, are quite useful. They're low enough to send signals a long distance, but they have an advantage. They can carry more data than low bands. Some versions of 4G and Wi-Fi live in this sweet spot band. The main issue here is that space is limited. Move to the right, and the frequencies get higher still. As frequencies get
And
higher,
that's why the 5G is not good for the masses, because it's more pollution. The people just not getting it. More radiation for the masses to suck up. And of course, it's going to be cancer. And of course, that's what they're doing, people. The more you advance in life, more technology is the quicker the masses die.
their wavelengths shrink. Shorter wavelengths let engineers cram more data into their radio signal. Firms in the United States are mostly building 5G networks in this higher frequency portion of spectrum. The ultra-fast download speeds and low latency will enable developments in self-driving cars.
There you go, people. What I don't tell you, this is what they want to activate right here. A more accurate self-driving cars and the cameras to watch the masses all over the place. Their facial recognition camera and everything will work better. You understand? With them spying to your camera that you have in your home, yes, it will be more accurate.
Virtual reality. But the short wavelengths here present technical issues. For starters, the waves don't travel very far. This means that your signal might not work indoors. Or if
So that's why you need more and more tower in between this tree and the tower right here. You need 2 more towers, and yes, you got faster signal. You understand? That's how it is, people. Once the wave starts stretching out, the signal become lower and lower. You understand me? You have to have thick, close waves for it to be strong. That's why you need a whole bunch of more towers.
blocks your line of sight to the tower, like a tree. The inability to travel great distances also means that cities will need to install several nodes to ensure a blanket of coverage.
The build-out, people. There you go. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. They're on top of light poles. They're everywhere. This is how you get the signals. Every damn signal right here on Earth. No fucking satellite needed.
The build-out of that infrastructure will not be cheap. So, why are U.S. firms at a disadvantage? It has to do with governance. The International Telecommunication Union divides the world into 3 regions. Within the regions, countries negotiate to reserve frequencies. Operators then bid for a portion. Think of it like an auction for invisible real estate. In the
invisible real estate, and who is selling it, people? Auction for invisible real estate. Because I already told you, they own the air, they own the land, they own the sea. That's what you need to know, people. That's why they got restriction in the air, restriction in the sea, restriction on the land. Owned by all man, people. You see that? And you tell me that you don't understand that they have a so-called superior people, them leading over you, ruling over you, right here on Earth. This is what you need to look into right here to see if they got some elite people running this world. You see that? Who is selling the air, people? Who is selling the air? Wow.
United States, 2 groups control that bidding process. The FCC holds auctions for
FCC. There you go. And you see how much of them fall under it? Most of the big fucking so-called cellular phone companies right there. You see it? Pay attention.
Private groups like Sprint and T-Mobile. And the NTIA does the same for federal agencies like the Defense Department. The Department of...
And all of them is the same. Just in case you're dumb. The same one that running this shit is the same people running this. They are the elites. That's what you need to know, people. The one that steal all the resources on Earth and then sell it back.
Defense has traditionally been one of the biggest spectrum users in the U.S., and so they are the incumbent in miniband. And any bands where you could move them out has been done long ago.
As a result, U.S. firms have less space to build 5G networks that balance higher data speeds with reasonable coverage.
Yes, and I show you already, people, about the 5G. It's not here yet, so if you're paying for it, you've been robbed. 100%. They gotta put up way more cell towers. They're not even close to being there yet. Bam.
Ever phoned or emailed someone on another continent or browsed a foreign website, you can dial up some gratitude for something that happened a century and a half ago.
It's been 150 years since the
150 for your number 6, but pay attention, people. Pay attention. I told you every day that they have no new technology. It's the same technology they're using today from back in the days. Pay attention.
It's been 150 years since the first transatlantic cable began ushering in global communications. And now tech giants are taking that undersea revolution a big step further. Here's Mark Albert.
When you pick up the phone to reach out and touch someone across the oceans, it's only possible because of ships like the Global Sentinel.
This is cable tank number 1.
And what am I standing on right now?
You're standing on fiber optic cable that's going to be laid for...
Fiber optic cables that they're going to run underwater to bring your signal. Don't believe in no satellites, people. They're 100% fake. And I told you, you can't just put something to spin around the Earth and beam nothing on there. You understand? Where is the capability come from to have fucking GPS and internet in a box floating around the Earth? That's garbage.
Here towards Brazil.
This is how worldwide communication...
It's no magic, people. It's no fucking magic. They run wires for signals. You understand me?
Ends.
There you go.
Jeff Sanders is a captain at TE Connectivity Subcom, which calls itself the world's largest provider of under-ocean fiber optic cable.
They're calling it the same
Why
way.
would they doing all of this shit right here, running fiber optic wires, cables underwater, if they can use satellite to send any kind of signal? Dumb on.
Did in the 1800s.
He gave us a rare view of more than 900 miles of cables spooled
900 miles coding, but I tell you people, all technology is old from back in the days. What you think, people? They just spoon feed you that shit so it costs you more. You understand why you think the technology coming in rapidly? They charge you a whole bunch of money for it, and then all of a sudden they say, oh, the price dropped because we are advancing, moving forward. What you think, people? That's by design, and I told you that's why you have the phones and everything come in numbers. You think they don't know that they're gonna make an iPhone 11, a 12? You didn't know that? Of course, it's by design to spoon feed the masses the so-called technology that they got right
tightly
now.
by hand in one of 3 side-by-side tanks aboard the ship anchored in the port of Newington in New Hampshire.
So the cable we're walking on right now will be under the ocean carrying my phone calls?
Yes, it will. It's a good chance any call you make to South America.
Carry any kind of signal, and every damn signal, that's what it carry. You better wake your ass
The
up.
future could be on this exact cable for the next 20, 25 years. Cable comes right off into the ocean from here.
Robots take over from there, diving to a depth too deep for humans. The machines use water jets to create a trench, allowing the cable to sink into the seabed and become buried.
95% of all telephone and data is transferred over submarine cables.
All of it, people. All of them fucking connections come from those cables. All over the world, those cables is run. That's why signal is everywhere. Wait, don't run. You got no signal. Just remember that I tell you.
Not satellite. Phone and data is transferred over submarine cables.
Not satellite.
Not satellite.
You hear that? Not satellite, people. Again.
Allowing the cable to sink into the seabed and become buried.
95% of all telephone and data is transferred over submarine cables.
Not satellite.
Not satellite.
Never
It's what allows us to rely on instant everything. Phone calls, banking, web surfing, email, streaming video, and other communication. And it all began 150 years ago.
We have here samples of the early cables from...
And I told you already, people, they steal this resource from biblical days. You're not getting it, people. Whether it was written on tablets or whatever, they're the one who steal it from back in the days. And that's why they got leadership and rulership over this earth. That's why they get to sell you the air. Yes, you have to monitor the sea and every damn thing. Yes, because they have the resource that earth supposed to have. All human beings supposed to use that resource. But they took it and they sell it to the masses and call it technology.
In 1850s.
This is what the first permanent cable looked like under the Atlantic.
Absolutely.
Barney Finn at the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History helped string
Yes, and of course, I tell you, don't trust no museum. It built up our fake.
together an exhibit commemorating the 150th anniversary of the first permanent transatlantic cable. And the man who assembled the financial, political, and technical
devil puppets they put on, because I already told you, resources that they steal, they don't need no fucking special person to come up. You understand? They don't need no special person to come up with it. You understand? It's them, the same people. They just put a puppet in the
was
spotlight.
to make it happen. Entrepreneur Cyrus Field. Some of the items have not been on display in more than a century.
And this indeed is the cable going across the Atlantic.
Late in rough seas, the first few copper cables broke or burnt out. When it finally worked after a decade of failure, Field wrote to his wife on July 27th, 1866. All well. Thank
How
God.
would they get the message? You in a boat in the middle of nowhere doing this shit, and how the fuck you sending message in mail? This is garbage, people.
Great Britain's Queen Victoria congratulated U.S. President Andrew Johnson in this message.
If I was living in 1866 and I wanted to send a message to a relative in Ireland or in England, it would take 10 days by ship to get there, however long to write the message, and 10 days to get back. With this cable now, it was what, minutes?
Yeah, that's right.
It sounds like this was the original information age.
That's right.
For the next 90 years.
From back then, you see this, even this right here use the same radioactive frequency. You're not getting it, people. And I told you already, people, this is how they do it from day one. And I told you, just scratching the surface, so-called, but they know exactly what they're doing.
The cable handled messages by Morse code before telephone cables arrived. Today, a maze of fiber optic cables crisscross the oceans and the U.S. What is the main challenge in moving vast amounts of data?
Capacity.
Mike Murphy co-founded the Boston-based telecom consultancy NEF. He says the explosion of data use around the world is leading to innovative partnerships like Facebook and Microsoft.
There you go, people, of course. Because now these people right here, the government people, gotta be all up in your business right here. That's why they use Facebook and Microsoft. And if I told you again, wow, the Microsoft is a damn devil puppet created, so-called. You understand? They put him in the spotlight and show him up for this right here. The same thing with the Facebook. Your Mark Zuckerberg and your Bill Gates. They're all fake.
Which have teamed up to build a blazing fast 160 terabyte per second cable from Virginia to Spain. What does this mean for the family sitting at home logging onto the internet?
Better, faster service. You know, so today we live in a world of instant gratification. So if you're standing in the grocery store and you want to see what's in your refrigerator to finish your shopping, you can actually access a camera inside your refrigerator.
Yes, and this is how you know, people, there is no fucking satellite bringing no signal on Earth.
Before it plays a key role in your internet life. This is what carries your email, videos, and games all around the world. It's an undersea internet cable. It's being made right here in Kitakyushu, Japan, at NEC's OCC factory. OCC makes submarine cable.
OCC 666, right there. You understand? 633. That's how they do it, people. It's time for you to wake up.
OCC makes submarine cables, which carry virtually all internet data across oceans. The cables come in different varieties, including heavily armored ones, but they all start with bundles of optical fibers. The fibers are wrapped in layers for strength, starting with a steel tube, then steel wires and a copper tube, and finally a polyethylene sheath for water resistance. Enormous spinner machines and spools are needed to create the cables. When they're armored,
I told you, people, they can never fool me. I used to know a friend that run one of these machine shops right here, and all he make is fiber optic wires. You understand? They can't fool everybody. All underwater run cables bring you every signal that you get. What's the purpose of the so-called satellite? What's the purpose? It's just they're spinning around. They're faking the masses. I told you already from jump. They got no satellite. GPS is a damn programming you got. You understand? It's a programming, a software. It got no internet. It connects to nothing. Wake your ass up. I'm gone.